What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dropping Bars. And today I have with me Mr. Barry Collymore, the managing director of Mount Cinnamon Beach Resort. First of all, congratulations on your recent acquisition of Mount Cinnamon. And, uh, and Barry Collymore, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kimron. Nice to see you, and thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, happy to have you here. And just as we get started, I mean, I know who you are. I know a bit about you, but for the people that are viewing, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure, Kimron. I'm a Caribbean man, a man that believes in the Caribbean, believes in the power potential of the Caribbean, believes that we can truly be a great united Caribbean nation, and everything that I do every day is towards that. I really believe in the power of the Caribbean. In terms of my work, I am the owner and executive chairman of Mount Cinnamon Beach Resort. We are we're one of the 30 best hotels in the Caribbean, voted by Condé Nast. And we're either usually number one, two, or three top hotel in Grenada, depending on how the TripAdvisor ratings fluctuate. So that's been consistent for the last 5 years.
That's amazing.
Resort, but we are very eco-friendly as well, and we're very focused on personalized service and very focused on high-end, high-quality vacations for everyone, including families. In fact, today we are launching our winter kids camp, and we have so many children here, families here with children who are absolutely excited about Grenada, coming here and vacationing here. And it's nice always to see couples, but when you see families traveling together, that's something really, really special.
Yeah, that definitely is something that's special. I know that even on my end, I'm looking to take a trip with my family soon, so I totally agree with you on that. Now, I know you've been in the tourist.
Come spend the night with us as well and see what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, that'll be fantastic.
You cannot, the memories that you build traveling as a family cannot be replaced with anything else probably that you do in life. It's just so special.
That I totally believe. And you've been in the tourism industry for a while, and so I want to kind of take a look at where you started and to get to where you are now. So now you are the executive chairman and owner of Mount Cinnamon Beach Resort. But I'm pretty sure there was a journey to get to that place. Now, what was that journey like? Where did it start for you, and what was the journey like to get to that place of owning one of the leading resorts in the Caribbean?
Well, the journey is about hard work, perseverance, and determination. But most of all, it's about belief in self and belief in the product. And I have a strong belief in what we are offering here in Grenada. I think it is absolutely unique. I think we are still punching way below our weight. I think we can even be better. And every day I'm going to work to try to make that happen. For me personally, I've been involved in many aspects of tourism, starting with the development end, working with as lead on many development projects here in Grenada, including Port Louis, Marina, this resort, Mount Cinnamon, Royalton, and others. So that's where my involvement started with tourism as on the development end as a developer, and now I do own a resort, and I'm very pleased about what we're doing here, and I think that this resort will continue to be a pillar of excellence. And what we are aiming to do here is to improve it even more. So for me, tourism has been for the last pretty much 10, 15 years has been something that I've been involved in. Also, as a service provider for tourism. My first company, actually, my first journey as an entrepreneur started with tourism. When I started my media and PR company, all of my clients, all of them except one, was tourism related, whether it be cruise ship, hotel, developers, etc. So, and there are many other people like me
Right.
who started and their companies were built on the backs of tourism. And I was not typically involved in tourism. I was not a hotelier, or I wasn't a restaurateur. I wasn't somebody working in the tourism industry. But what I was offering a media, PR, and marketing service. And the people who I got business from, 90% of them were tourism-related businesses.
Okay, and I want to touch on something, because you mentioned, when you started, most of your clients, while you were not directly involved in tourism, most of your clients were tourism, and that has spanned like over the last 10, 15 years. You work in that space, right? No, on the last episode of Dropping Bars, one of the sentiments that was expressed by my guest, and I think you're the perfect person to ask this question, being a man of tourism. One of the sentiments that was expressed was tourism is not a creator of wealth, especially for the Caribbean. We should not look to tourism as a means of creating wealth. What are your thoughts on these sentiments? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? If yes, why? If no, why not?
So many people look at tourism at a surface level and see tourism as a foreign encroachment on the Caribbean, where we are then relegated to the lowest end positions, lowest paying positions, with no hope of upward mobility. So if your view of tourism is that the tourism establishments are all foreign owned, and that the only participation by the local population are as entry-level employees, then it is easy to say that. And it is easy to say that. People say that because they don't understand tourism, and it's no fault of theirs, and it's no fault of any guest that you have to think that. But there is something called a reality. And here's the reality. The reality is, from a macro level, that the Caribbean has pretty much distinguished itself globally only really in 3 areas. One, West Indies cricket. We were the best in the world at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to ever be there again. But West Indies cricket, we were the best in the world at West Indies cricket, and nobody can deny that. 2, the reggae music industry, led by Bob Marley, best in the world in that aspect, and that's something that you can't dispute, the legacy of Bob Marley and those who followed after him.
Mm-hmm.
3, the exploits mainly of the Jamaican sprinters and track athletes. I think Jamaica and some other parts of the Caribbean, including Grenada, recently joining that list with the achievements of Kirani James, that we have been the best in the world in athletics, and that's put us on the global stage. Right. So reggae music, West Indies cricket, and our track athletes are the things that have where we have dominated the rest of the world, been a global powerhouse, and we can say without a doubt we were the best, right? And I'm not just talking about a small competition. I'm talking about globally. This is global I'm talking about. We can't say that of many other things in the Caribbean. The one business that we can say in the Caribbean that we are up there competing with the best of the best and doing as good as anyone else is tourism. The Caribbean, through its reputation, through its quality of life, and through the experience that we offer our visitors here has distinguished itself as one of the best tourism destinations in the world. And it is hard for us to look at any other business, large scale business. There may be niches where we may be able to say that, but it is hard to see any other business in the Caribbean where we can say we are the best globally. And that I hope that somebody proves me wrong and finds a large scale business where, and a large scale industry. Sorry, I'm not talking about individual business. Large scale industry in the Caribbean that we are the best globally. But tourism, we've been able to establish ourselves as a global powerhouse. What that has done is that it has done something where we haven't really seen in other it has created a global Caribbean tourism brand. It has led to the formation of many great Caribbean businesses, including places like Sandals, and Sandals is a global brand, and owned by Caribbean people. But you also have, along with Sandals, a list of really world-class tourism establishments, hotels, and restaurants owned by local Caribbean people that are competing as some of the best in the world as well, right?
Right.
And what these resorts and hotels and other tourism establishments do is that they create a serious multiplier effect like no other industry in the Caribbean has done. So I mentioned my own experience where I set up a PR firm, and 90% of my business was hospitality based, including and tourism and hospitality and travel. That includes here Grenada. That includes the St. George's University, which is a travel based industry, right?
Right.
Without selling Grenada, and without the attributes of Grenada, and without Grenada being a friendly tourism based economy, the successes that they've had at St. George's University would not be. They would be. The university is a great university, and it has done extremely well, and no one can take that away from the accomplishments of St. George's University. But even that, in a sense, where people travel to be educated, that's called educational tourism.
Right.
So there's an aspect of tourism. So there is nothing, Kimron, that I can see in the Caribbean as powerful as tourism, as a creator of businesses, not just large businesses, but small businesses. And so, and I look, my IT guy was here a few days ago, and I said to him, because I knew I was coming on this program, and I knew that that's one of the things he wanted to ask me about. And I said to him, roughly, how much of your business is tourism related? And he said 95%, Barry. Right? And that guy is same age as me. He's in his 40s. He's built his business here in Grenada. And 95% of his clients are tourism-based clients. 95%. And this is so true of many other industries and things in the region.
Yeah, and that's an interesting perspective. Just to not to cut you, because when you spoke about the multiplier effect, sometimes we think about tourism and we think strictly about, let's say, the hotels and so, but not realizing that there are other businesses that are built off the back of tourism that are not offering strictly tourism services, but they were built because of the demand for their service in the tourism industry. So that's an interesting point that you just made.
It is absolute. This is not red wine or Campari. This is sorrel.
Sorry, yes.
Our chef just told me this morning. He said, Barry, I'm buying all the sorrel that I can get because there's such a high demand for it with the guests, and these guys here are doing all kinds of things with sorrel, not just making it as a sorrel drink, but they're now making sorrel cocktails, including sorrel mimosas, where they're they're freezing the sorrel cubes, and you get a cube of frozen sorrel, and they're topping it off with a little bit of champagne and garnishing the glass, and it's absolute winner with the guests, and they love
Nice.
it because they haven't had that anywhere else. So
Nice.
this tourism, Kimron, is the Caribbean's greatest export. And you think about that, it's not a typical export where we are sending a product out, but what we are doing is we are sending marketing out, getting people excited about the region and getting them to come here to spend their money. So we are exporting our way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is that the impact of that and the effect of that is then people want to be part of that way of life. And that export is all about marketing. And it's what you do a lot with your own business and many others, where we market the Caribbean, we market the way of life here, Caribbean traditions or culture, or food, or people, and we get people excited about it. And then people say, you know what, I want to be part of that. And it's the greatest export that the Caribbean has. It's the most sustainable. It's the thing that once we do not allow our way of life and our culture to be spoiled by crime and too many other social ills, which are bad for the population anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most sustainable exports that we can have.
So awesome. Thanks for saying that.
And by the way, what tourism also does, it is creating the biggest market for our Caribbean agriculture. Right?
Right.
And look at now, we are buying all the fish that we can get because there's such a high demand for fish. So any fisherman with fish and thing, the hotels are buying fish. They don't want to import. The guests don't want to eat salmon or trout. They want to eat mahi-mahi, barracuda, snapper. That's what they want.
Yes.
They didn't come here to eat branzino and trout and those kinds of things. They want to eat the fish, and they want particularly the Grenadian lobsters, right? And they want to know, because in some of these guests that we have here, when they sit in their restaurants in North America, and this is a Grenada example, and the menu comes out, and you look at and they order the tuna. The tuna is from Grenada, and it's listed on the menu because we export tuna to the United States, right? But they want to, when they're here, they want to eat it fresh from the source where the waters where it comes from. So the Caribbean provides the biggest. Caribbean tourism provides one of the biggest markets for local products, local agricultural products, and it's the perfect marriage. And we should not be saying that tourism is competing with agriculture. They're complementary. They need each other. And any great tourism destination in the world is not just built on beaches or buildings or even service. It's also built on food and agricultural products. You look at the great regions in France, Spain, Italy, all those top tourism destinations, the food is a big part of the offering. And if the food is local, it means a lot more to the visitor. And in Grenada, we are unique in that we have everything, and we have to use it, and we cannot be in a position where we are saying that we are competing tourism versus agriculture. They're complementary. They work well with each other, and we have to continue to have them work well with each other. And the best tourism products are the ones that understand the importance of agriculture, and the tourism, the agriculture people understand the importance of tourism.
That's great. I like how you synthesize that last piece there, because I think this is a very important point to make. Now, in your opinion, do you think that the tourism industry in the Caribbean has reached its fullest potential? And if no, then what do you think we need to do in the Caribbean to get to that place where we're operating at our fullest potential?
We have not even gotten near our full potential, Kimron. Right? Not even near. And let me give you an example why I say that. The Caribbean, in spite of all the good, and look at COVID. One of the industries that's exploded after COVID is travel and tourism.
Yes.
Globally. And we are benefiting from some of that in the Caribbean. But when you look at the global market share of tourism, we are still in the Caribbean, we're vastly under 10% or less. There is an amazing opportunity now for us to grab market share from places in the world where things are not going as well, and we're not being opportunistic. What we have to think of here is being business savvy.
Right.
So we are not lamenting in the misfortunes of others, but we are seizing the opportunities that present themselves to us right now. And those opportunities in tourism, where there are places in the world which have become less desirable than they were before, we have to ensure that we seize that opportunity. There's a big opportunity for us in our source markets. We think that people know us. People don't know us.
Yeah.
And as somebody that out of travel, Kimron, you know that when you were in where you were based in Canada, and you talk to people of the Caribbean or you talk to people of Grenada, I'm sure there's still many people who've never even heard of it. Right?
Yes, you're right.
But that comes through. The Caribbean as a region has to has to understand that these little islands marketing individually is not the best strategy. We have to market as a Caribbean destination, as one destination. We have to increase our global influence on the world. And don't forget, the things that we have had global influence on the world in is West Indies cricket, reggae music, Jamaican sprinting. Those are the things that stand out. When you say, do you know the Caribbean? Oh, Bob Marley. Oh, I know Usain Bolt. Somebody who's much older. Oh, Vivian Richards and Sir Garfield Sobers. They're the things that stand out. They're not talking about. They are talking about that these are the things that we have really. Oh, Kirani James, right? Because this is where we've been able then to capture the imagination of the world and be the best. So we have to come together as a region and market one destination. We have got to use the things that have been winners for us to increase the global influence of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And then we've got to make it easier to get to the Caribbean by increasing the number of flights and connections that come to the Caribbean. And one of the ways that we can do that is to significantly reduce the taxes on airline tickets, mm-hmm. And especially with intra-regional travel. And I really believe that one of the things that the Caribbean has to do is to create a single landing space where, like Europe, if I land in France, I can travel anywhere in Europe.
Right.
If I land in St. Lucia, I should be able to travel anywhere in the Caribbean without clearing immigration again. You just go through customs, the local customs, mm-hmm. Which is fine. But if we make it easier for people to travel the Caribbean by creating by creating the environment which is enabling to interregional travel, so we have more people investing in interregional travel, one, and two, we make it easier on visitors to travel to the Caribbean by eliminating some of the hassle of travel, and we can do that through clearing one Caribbean space. We will begin to have a growth in tourism that we haven't had before, and I really firmly believe that.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept, because I know, for example, many people who go to Europe. I mean, I haven't been yet. but outside of like England. But many people who go to Europe, they land in one space and they're able to go on like in this like long Euro trips passing through every country. So that's a very interesting concept that you just mentioned. And I mean, and I've had firsthand experience of people not knowing where Grenada is when I'm outside there. Like when I was in Mexico and I told my Mexican friends I'm Grenadian, they asking me which part of Jamaica is that, you know. So it's and then you have to kind of educate them on the Caribbean and kind of break it down a little bit. So you're definitely right.
You mentioned Mexico, right? And let me show you an example. You talk about wealth creation. Mexico is having amazing success in tourism. You know why? Because Mexico is building not just its tourism product, or not built its tourism product, but it has well-developed ancillary services around tourism. And let me explain that. You talk about no wealth from tourism. You ask the construction industry in Grenada, who is your biggest customer? It's tourism.
Right.
Right? You ask the architects, who are your biggest customers? The highest value customers. It's tourism and tourism related. In Mexico, I've done a few different development projects, and sometimes those projects involve bids. You put a bid out, a global bid, and you get the usual guys from Miami and New York bidding for architectural services, engineering, and that type of thing. But what you also are getting is very, very highly competent Mexican builders, architects, material people who can source and manufacture materials for construction, that type of thing. So they are benefiting from, and they realize that tourism creates what I call a connected economy,
right,
where different parts of the economy benefit in and work into that tourism. And that connected economy, tourism doesn't just start when your hotel door opens. Tourism starts from the minute a local or foreign investor decides to build a hotel. He has to have quantity surveying services. That's an opportunity for entrepreneurship. He has to have construction services. That's an opportunity for entrepreneurship. He has to have architectural services. That's an opportunity for entrepreneurship. He has to have engineering services. That's an opportunity for entrepreneurship. Then he has to have all of the interior design and landscaping and all of that. All of that is tourism and tourism related. So when your hotel is built, you have dealt with many different entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you open, then you start dealing with another set of entrepreneurs.
Right. Okay. So great. And I'm glad you highlighted that piece, because the truth is, again, even from my end, and I've worked in tourism, really thinking about the ancillary services, you know, that are built, businesses that are built, that may not be directly tourism businesses, but because of tourism, they're built and they're offering services to the tourism industry is really a great point to bring out. Now, let's say there are, I know, for example, in TAM CC there is a tourism program. I know UE has its tourism bachelor's also in tourism. I think SGU is doing some tourism studies now. So I'm seeing like a lot of the schools and universities in the Caribbean are now having, whether it's an entire degree in tourism management or courses in tourism. What advice or what message can you give to like young people who are interested in the tourism industry?
Well, I would say dive right in and learn as much as possible. One of the things that I would encourage people in the industry to do is, one, learn different languages, and two, learn different skills. If you can, because all of these skills can be marketable. You can create your own sphere of entrepreneurship and offer many different services. So if you are a good chef and you can play the guitar, you can speak another language, You can market yourself, not just your chef skills, but your translation skills and your entertainment skills as well. So learn as much as you can. To the people who are in the digital economy, I would say really understand what you're doing. There are too many people who are just trying to uh, post things and be on social media without, and Kimron, you know this better than I do, without, so people come to market themselves that they can provide social media consulting, and but it's not just about posting pretty pictures.
Correct.
Right? So you got to understand that there's a whole back end behind that. And you got to understand there's an enormous potential for persons, even with the advent of the metaverse, which will add a number of add-ons to the tourism product, where you can create a lot of guest awareness through technology and enhance guest experience. For instance, let me give an example. We have the way our property, part of our property is located, part of it is in a hillside on the beach. There's a hillside going up to the beach, and we have a golf cart service that guests can hop on and hop off. And one of the things that we've I've just spoken to my technology people about is setting up and they're busy working on it now. And we want a little, as part of our app, a golf cart app, as an embed in the app where you can track where the golf cart is, and it's like a local Uber from Mount Cinnamon,
Right.
where you can call the golf cart wherever it is just by Ubering it, hitting it.
Yeah.
You can find out where it is and how many minutes it's going to take to get to you. Those are the kinds of innovations. When you go on the beach and you have a metaverse environment, and you can, on your phone, you can get information about, not just, you pull up your phone, you're on Grenada Beach, you pull up your phone, and your somebody needs to create an experience where you just tap on something, and you can not just see, oh, this is Grenada Beach, but you can learn a little bit about the aquatic life, and a little bit about the history of the area, the tides, those are the kinds of things that people. So this digital, the growth in digital technology presents itself significant opportunities for entrepreneurship, particularly youth entrepreneurship in this field, and it's good to see that the government here is created here in Grenada is creating a creative economy strategy, because this is going to, and I'm telling you that their biggest customer is going to be tourism, and some of the services that we are, because one of the things that I've done, Kimron, as well, myself and my partner in this particular venture, Danny Fackery. Danny and I have created the West Indies School of Hospitality. We're every year, and the school's been open now for just about a year, and we've done over 1,000, close to 1,500 scholarships in tourism. We have a partnership with Cornell University through eCornell, and we are educating the tourism population here, the tourism workforce here, and that is having tremendous success. So we've already close to 1,500 scholarships that people have been able to get Cornell certification. And these people are using these skills to better themselves, to market themselves better, and to get better job opportunities and give a better experience. And in the next 6 weeks, we are launching our partnership with the Culinary Institute of America, where we will be doing that same thing in culinary. And every time you create a chef, you create an entrepreneur, because that person then has the ability to run or operate a restaurant. So there's still in terms of education, I would advise people to learn as much. There's some areas that are really lacking. You can't get food and beverage managers. because they're just so hard to find. It is hard to get persons who are skilled Caribbean general managers. And I would advise people to look at that. Don't just go and do a tourism degree. Do a general managers program because it's specific to the industry. Learn different languages. Learn to play an instrument. Do the technology, but do it in a way that it will connect to business and enhance business. Not just about what you think is good, but what about is good for the business and what will sell. So yeah, those are the things that I would advise. But the main thing is get as much education and experience as possible, and just be a nice, pleasant person. Because the industry, at the end of the day, is about selling yourself and your personality. Work on your personality so that you're not grumpy and miserable all the time. Because then nobody wants to be around you.
Right.
And you're just miserable. You complain about everything. I look at social media sometimes and I think to myself, it would be nice if sometimes people post positive things because, you look at it, somebody posts something negative, whether it is in any, or somebody makes a mistake, somebody is supporting the wrong group or political party, and there's a storm of abuse.
Yeah.
I'd like to see us reverse that as human beings, to say, a storm of when people are do good or people are down, you encourage them. But this bully mentality that has crept in, I think is making us not as nice people as we were, and is having an impact, I think, on our society where we believe that we must resolve everything through conflict and fights. And I'd like to see it go the other way, where we're nicer to each other, kinder to each other, gentler human beings, more respectful and tolerant, and understanding that we are one Caribbean with one collective future.
No, and thank you for saying that, and I really hope that the people listening, especially our young people, can really take that and internalize it and really understand what you're saying. And you spoke about the languages part, and I can tell you, I have first-hand experience of where that really worked for me. I remember when I moved to Canada the first time, that's before I moved back to Grenada. In the first job that I had here, I kid you not, on the second day, when the bosses discovered that I spoke fluent Spanish, on the second day of the job, I got a raise just so I could deal with Spanish clients. And then 3 months later, I was promoted to a supervisor simply because they were missing a supervisor for the Spanish clients. That's it. They didn't look at my education. I mean, I had my degree and everything, but they didn't look at my education. They didn't look at anything. Just the fact that I spoke fluent Spanish. That was it. So definitely, I totally agree with that piece of what you're saying. And one of the last things that you mentioned is kind of using the use of technology, and especially the digital side of things. And that's where, I mean, that's the field that I'm in, digital. So I'm always happy whenever I see people like yourself that are encouraging the use of digital within industries like tourism and any other industry, because I think that is very important. The topic of my last interview was digital transformation, which I think is a big thing right now. So thank you for mentioning that. So we've come to.
We will be in tourism the biggest customer for digital transformation.
And I do not dispute that.
For example, right now, I would like to implement smart TV and smart technology in all of my rooms, and I'd love to find a Caribbean company or Grenadian company that does that kind of thing. So it's okay to learn it and talk about it, but the people who actually are going to buy the technology, 90% of them are going to be tourism-related services, businesses. So we are a perfect customer for that type of thing because we always looking for enhanctions.
Yeah.
So, I would encourage people to learn a lot more, instead of wasting time, the other thing that I worry about is we waste so much time on social media, scrolling through. We are reading more and learning less. instead of dedicate some of the time that you would spend on Facebook, spend it on Coursera or Rosetta Stone. Actually learning something.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you on that. And one of my worry, if I'm being honest, and I actually made a video about that yesterday, and I posted it yesterday. One of my worries is, especially for the young people, that the things that they're posting now will come back and haunt them in the future, because people are not thinking about their careers. People are not thinking about, maybe they might be in secondary school and they might want to get a scholarship somewhere in the future, and then universities might reject them, or a job might look at the things that they're posting and say, okay, well, this person, what they're doing, does that align with the value and the culture of my organization? So I'm not gonna accept them. So the time that we spend so much time on social media that we can get involved in doing the wrong thing that can destroy or hamper our potential and our careers in the future. And that's one of the things that I literally made a video about that just yesterday, just admonishing the young people of the Caribbean on their social media use.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. I mean, I'm really a big advocate of free speech, and people should be able to express themselves. But I'm just saying that I think that we need to look at, everybody needs to, everybody has to figure out their own life out for themselves. But my worry is that some of the time, just the amount of time wasted on social media that could be spent learning something or doing something meaningful. A social media post is, actually going and helping somebody or creating something or doing something. You post something on social media, and I don't know that how much help that is to your neighborhood, to your family, to your country, or to the world. But I'm not saying that people shouldn't be on it. I'm concerned that what we're doing on it, how much time we're spending on it.
Absolutely. I get you there. Okay, great. So thank you again, Mr. Barry Collymore, for coming on to Dropping Bars today and having a discussion with me. We've come to the end of our discussion, and thank you everyone for tuning in to another week of Dropping Bars, and I will see you next week for another episode when we'll have another great conversation. So, Mr. Barry Collymore, Executive Chairman of Monk Cinnamon Beach Resort, thank you so much for coming on Dropping Bars today.
Thank you, Kimron, and I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you. Bye.